Hello, my PPC family and friends. Pastor Brian here with another quick bite, living the word. Today, our word is going to come from the book of James, actually, and kind of goes along with something we talked about 2 days ago. And I thought, well, I better get these finished up, because they kind of go hand in hand together. So I thought, let's talk about these before we go on to some of the other ones. And so, James chapter 1, something that I think we misunderstand when we read this text. Not that we shouldn't not be quick to anger and things of this nature, but when we read this text, we're going to read this tonight. I want you to recognize the importance of what the Lord's really driving at here. Pick it up at verse 19, if you would, and then let's just read down to verse 20, and then we're going to come back and talk about those things. It says, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God." Now, this is so important. Okay, why? Well, because so when we read these words, we go, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear and slow to speak." Now, let's just stop there for just 1 second. So, really, in all honesty, if you think about it, if we could practice this, if we were swift to hear, really listen to what's being said, instead of always looking for what they're saying about us, or for a moment why we might be upset about what's being said, or just really listen to the words that are being said. Listen to the heart as much as you can behind what's being said. I'll give you an idea, all right? Oftentimes, what we have a tendency to do is we have a tendency to go right to the immediate, I should be upset about what just happened now. Why? Well, because I'm offended. Whether we realize it or not, we're not listening to the person who's actually talking. Are they really saying something negative about us? Are they really saying something angry about us or hurtful towards us? Or are we just easily offended? If we're easily offended, then we should be obviously quick to hear. Really listen to what they're saying. And obviously, if we're going to listen more than we speak, we're going to be slow to speak. We're not going to just out of haste say, "Ugh," or even just do one of those moments. You guys want to talk about those moments where we don't necessarily say anything, but we just have that big huff that somebody says something like, right? We're not going to have one of those moments either, because we're going to be slow to speak. We're not opening our mouth and doing something, all right? But then he says these important words, slow to wrath. Now, most times when we read the word wrath, we think of anger. But wrath actually carries with a much bigger connotation than that. Wrath isn't just about anger. Wrath literally is vengeance. See, that's where we can actually start to, if I can look to you, say this to you, we can start to look like Jesus. When they railed at him when he's on the cross, when they wagged their tongues at him while he was on the cross, he didn't wag his tongue back. He didn't rail back at them. He didn't point out all their sins or all their issues. He just listened. He just listened. He didn't show his vengeance. He was slow to vengeance. Now, that's God on the cross. But, of course, now we go, what about us? Well, see, if we're slow to vengeance, here's the point. Look what it says next. It says this, "For the wrath of man, if you allow me, for the vengeance of man worketh not the righteousness of God." So, in other words, our vengeance never produces the righteousness that God would have us to produce. It produces our ideals instead of God's ideas. Now, to put all this in context, though, of why he would say these words to us, why the Apostle James, or James, if you don't want to say he's an apostle, would be writing to us these important words. Well, look back at verse 16 with me, if you would. It says this. Actually, no, we can go back further than that. All right? He said in verse 13, he says, "Let no man say when he is tempted, I'm tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed." See, here's the problem. When we start to think about ourselves, and that's really when we're slow to hear and quick to speak, we're thinking about ourselves. When we're quick to wrath, vengeance, we're thinking about ourselves. So here's the point. Let every man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust and enticed. When you're drawn away by your own lust, and when lust is conceived, it brings forth sin. Again, when we let that lust of our own vengeance, our own anger, our own self-defense, whatever the case may be, it brings forth sin, and sin, when it's finished, brings forth death. Now, it doesn't mean we separate from the Lord, but the point of the matter is it's going to kill relationships, it's going to kill everything like that. But look at verse 17. "Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, cometh down from the Father of lights, of whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Of his own will begot he us with the word of truth, that we should be kind of first fruits of his creatures." Okay, ready for this? Get ready. Every good gift, Every perfect gift is from above. Why do we keep looking for things from the world, from the people around us, from our family, from our friends, that we can't get anywhere but from Jesus? Anywhere but from God. The perfect good things we keep looking for are found only in Him. They're not found in other people. So if we recognize that what we want what? We want accolades, we want joy, we want peace, we want happiness, whatever word you want to put in there, right? When we want those things, those good things, those what we value, they come from God. They don't come from without. They don't come from the people around us. So then, if we understand that, then we're not gonna be so quick to wrath. We're not gonna be so quick to speak. We're gonna be a lot more about hearing what's going on. Why? So we might impart grace to those that need it. My point is this: when we actually act out of our own understandings, let's just be honest. If we're slow to hear, that we're not swift to hear, we're not attentive to our hearing, but we're just hear what we want to hear. We're listening for a while. I've got, oh man, isn't that so frustrating? You've been around somebody who it seems like they're just sitting there listening for something to get offended at, or listening for something you say wrong, and the minute you do something that's just a little bit along with what they're expecting, they jump all over you. They don't hear the whole thing of what you're going to say. You gotta hear the person out. Honestly, why this is so important is because this speaks directly to our relationship with God. So many times people will hear what they want to hear God say instead of what God is really saying. So many times people want to tell God what He's saying rather than hearing what He's saying. So many times people get angry and vengeful towards God instead of recognizing that every good gift, that every perfect gift is from God. So I hope this encourages you today. I love you. We love you. God loves you. And God's got this. Oh, I'm off the wrong page. Sorry, guys. There we go. Love you.